Thank you very much. This is Dr. Isaac Opoku-Asare. I'm an interventional cardiologist and also a vascular specialist. And I thank God for that privilege, that unique privilege that I have to be board certified in both interventional cardiology and vascular. And that gives us a unique perspective because the heart is intimately joined to our vascular system. Actually, the blood is pumped from the heart into your vascular system, and the blood ultimately finds its way back to your heart. The blood is pumped from the from the left side of the heart, goes to all your body, and it has to come back home, right? It's like homecoming. The blood comes back home to the right side and goes to the lungs. So if you have not listened to our presentation on circulation, I want you to do that. And today I want to talk about something that is important, whether you are here in the United States, whether you are in India listening to me, or whether you are in Ghana, wherever you are. This is a data that is very relevant. I came across this data during my board review for last year, and it's a very powerful data that I presented. And Michael, you can zoom in on that. I don't know where it's being zoomed in now. It's important that we look at what are the things. There's a whole lot. I'm somebody that firmly believes that if you can avoid medicine and live a natural life, it is the best. But medicine, in certain cases, are indispensable. And I always talk about the fact that the person that I was named after, he lived to be 104. He never took any medicine. So how did he live to be 104 without taking medicine? It's because he led his life naturally well, right? Instead of all, he never knew something called fast food, the junk food we eat. That guy never knew that. I mean, if I told him, that if he saw me eating fast food, I think that guy would have made me kneel down and pray for forgiveness, right? It's not because it's bad, but what I'm trying to do is tell you is this. He lived to be 104 without taking any medicine. And to the best of my understanding, he never even saw a doctor. But he was 104. I saw him at the age when he was either 98 or 99. And that was my first time that they told me that this man is 100 years. And I couldn't believe it. So why is this important? It is important because your goal is to be able to avoid most of the medications you are taking, if possible, if you are able to live the life that is important ahead of time. Right? And one of the reasons why I believe he lived long, when I looked at this literature, and this is a trial. This is not my trial. This is a trial that has been published, right? And the people that published the trial, all credit to them. And they show, this is not only for United States, all over the world. There is something that you could see that if you look at the graph that is here, we're talking about the red one stands for death or people dying because of the reason is cardiovascular. Cardiovascular is the number one reason. And the second thing that you see over here in this page is we're talking about cancers, right? And then the light red is diabetes. So how do you see that if you consider diabetes, if you consider cardiovascular, and if you consider cancers, see how big cardiovascular contributes. Cardiovascular is this from this place all over to this. That is cardiovascular, right? And then cancers accounts for this. And then, so if you look at this whole place, right, the behemoth, the number one reason for somebody dying in this world, in the United States, is cardiovascular. And the Bible tells us, I'm going to repeat it, God is not interested in only your emotional well-being. And that is why I am doing this. We are not interested in you just coming to church and giving your money. No, 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 no. 3 John verse 2 says this, Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper what? And be in health, even as your soul prospers. So you understand? If that means for the Apostle Paul, for the Apostle John, the disciple that Jesus loves, his first priority in your life is your health. And that is why I am doing what I'm doing here, that your first priority is your health. If you have no health, you have no life. That is a very different, if you have no health, you have no life to enjoy. That's what I mean. Because the essence of life is to give you the privilege to enjoy it. And that is why if you have no health, then your access to enjoying life can sometimes be limited.
At ACI, we offer expert care for veins, legs, hearts, and arteries. We treat a myriad of ailments including leg pain, leg swelling, chest discomfort, and shortness of breath. Serving the DMV area, we accept most insurance. Visit our website for our free resources. Call or click to schedule your visit today. Advanced Cardiovascular Institute. Expert care for hearts and legs.
Why I believe he lived long. When I looked at this literature, and this is a trial. This is not my trial. This is a trial that has been published, right? And the people that published the trial, all credit to them. And they show this is not only for United States, all over the world. There is something that you could see that if you look at the graph that is here, we're talking about the red one stands for death or people dying because of the reason is cardiovascular. Cardiovascular is the number one reason. And the second thing that you see over here in this page is we're talking about cancers, right? And then the light red is diabetes. So how do you see that if you consider diabetes, if you consider cardiovascular, and if you consider cancers, see how big cardiovascular contributes. Cardiovascular is this from this place all over to this. That is cardiovascular, right? And then cancers accounts for this. And then, so if you look at this whole place, right, the behemoth, the number one reason for somebody dying in this world, in the United States, is cardiovascular. And the Bible tells us, I'm going to repeat it, God is not interested in only your emotional well-being. And that is why I am doing this. We are not interested in you just coming to church and giving your money. No, 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 no. 3 John verse 2 says this, Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper what? And be in health, even as your soul prospers. So you understand? If that means for the Apostle Paul, for the Apostle John, the disciple that Jesus loves, his first priority in your life is your health. And that is why I am doing what I'm doing here, that your first priority is your health. If you have no health, you have no life. That is a very different, if you have no health, you have no life to enjoy. That's what I mean. Because the essence of life is to give you the privilege to enjoy it. And that is why if you have no health, then your access to enjoying life can sometimes be limited. And that is why he said that I wish above all things that you may what? You may be in good health, even as your soul prospers. So it's a holistic principle. And that is the first thing and this is something that I'm going to go through over and over. And that is why today we are talking about making it right. Making it right. So what do you see here? Among all the reasons why cardiovascular, all deaths occur, attributable to the food we eat. As I said this, the common factor that I have with my ancestor who lived to be 104 is that we all eat. The difference is what he ate and what I'm eating. That is where the difference is coming in. And that is why we want to look at, before we go to, a lot of people talk about dieting, and they sometimes do not look at what goes into it. We've talked about the calorie content, but today I want to talk about the overall picture here, which if you look at it, you're going to see that there are many, many, many reasons, right? All you see from here is that in terms of diet, the number one, and it comes from all the way from to red meat. You realize how even red meat alone by itself, though may be bad, without salt is a different ball game. And that is why one of the studies showed that even red meat in developing countries is different from what red meat does in the developed country. The reason is this. The number one reason is diet that is high in sodium. I am going to repeat this. Salt and high salt is your biggest enemy. Is the number one contributor to cardiovascular problems worldwide. So where do we find our salt? The reason why red meat, especially meat in this country, is a problem is because meat in this country is processed with something called salt. Most of the time, in my own work, when my staff, we get food, I can't eat it. Not because of anything, but because the food that sometimes I see people eating, when I put it in my mouth, it's like I'm eating raw salt in my mouth. Salt. What is the commonest places that you find salt? Let's talk about it. Number one is processed food. Let me tell you this. The Institute of Medicine clearly have shown, and you can go and look at it, that 90 to 95% of your salt comes from outside the salt you put in your food. So I'm going to talk about just not the salt, but sodium. So if you are eating fast food that is high in salt, and boy, all of them. And I'm going to talk about something here. There's somebody that thinks that they are rich and they eat outside. It's good to eat outside. I'm not against it. But eat in a place where the salt is low. I can tell you this. One of my favorite Mediterranean, I like Mediterranean food. One of my favorite Mediterranean places that I go to, they serve me with meat, and in addition to the meat, let me look. In addition to the meat, let me see who is trying to call me whilst I'm doing this. Okay, so in addition to the meat, they give me fries, and I tell them, don't put salt on my fries. You know why? Because when they dump the salt, ooh, the whole thing has salt on it. It defeats the purpose. So I said, don't put it in it. So because most of your salt come from outside, I have patients who tell me, I don't put salt in my food. I tell them, put it. And stop eating the sausages and the processed food. So let me come back and say, a lot of people say I don't eat fast food. It's great. But they eat outside. And when they eat outside, most of the restaurants, it doesn't matter whether it's fast food or not, the salt level is very, very high. So what am I saying? Whatever you are eating, try and get low sodium. I know certain people, if they don't eat bacon 1 week, they'll start having withdrawals. I get it. Thank God there's low sodium bacon. Buy that one. Everything consumed in moderation is going to help you. But bacon is one big source of sodium. But you can get a low sodium one. I'm not telling you. This is what the result shows. This result is so powerful that even in places where they don't have very high cardiovascular disease, this principle manifests. So let's look at the places where we get the sodium. Number 1, fast food. Number 2, I'm not saying don't eat the fast food. Get your fries without salt. That will help you. Right? Number 2, wherever you go, whether it's fast food or not, if you can really start the habit of cutting eating outside, I'm repeating this, and learning to prepare your food or doing food at home so that you determine the amount of salt that you have is going to help you. Let me tell you something. I'm a big believer in vegan. It's not because I have a choice, but because I'm lactose intolerant, right? So vegan food lines up with me perfectly. But I've also seen that I looked at a lot of lean, so-called lean food. And the reason why they have got this vegan meat, to make it tasty, they load it with salt like no other. So the people think that they are eating healthy food. They are just propagating their health problems, especially cardiovascular. So the fact that it is vegan doesn't mean that it is healthy. Look at the salt content that is in it. I'm repeating this. The fact that it is vegan does not mean it is healthy. Check the salt content. I have personally gone to shopping malls and I've gone into the deep freezers where they have this so-called vegan food. And the salt content of the vegan food is way higher than the non-vegan food. Because they are trying to make it tasty. And the only ways in this country that some people can make food tasty is to increase the salt. I said it. We traveled to London with my family. And my own case, we gave them food and they said the food doesn't taste good. I said, are you kidding me? We're talking about Central London, a good restaurant, and you are telling me that the food is no good. Why did you get this authority, young girl, to tell me that the food is no good? So let me tell you, I tasted the food and I realized the food was not salty. The food was not as salty in Central London. This is when the British had made the rule to limit salt in food. So the definition of good food sometimes in America is a food that is salty. Let me tell you one of the reasons why they sell the food very hot to you. You know, there is a favorite chicken that is sold in my area in Maryland. And I told my staff that if they want to know the salt content of that chicken, when they buy it, they should try to make it cool down. And when the chicken cools down, try and eat it. One of them tried it and he came back and said, wow, I couldn't believe that amount of salt. Let me tell you the secret from the food industry. They load it with salt and they keep the temperature high. Because the human brain, because your mind is centered on the heat, you don't feel the salt. It's the same chicken. Actually, they love that chicken. And I was talking to them recently and they said that is our default. When they told me that is their default, I said, may God have mercy on these people. Highly salted chicken. Right? In other parts of the world, the chicken is spiced, but it's not salted. And this is an important thing. I can tell you this. You cannot expect to have ideal cardiovascular health if you don't check this problem of high salt. The reason why a lot we talk about salad being good is when the salad, I've never seen anybody put salt in salad except the salad dressing. And I went to a restaurant that sells, it's a popular restaurant all over the United States. And I ordered the salad. And when the salad came, when you take the salad cream is dripping. I knew that this is like, they are trying to give me a heart attack right now. I moved gently away. The salad cream on that salad, the salt content in it was crazy. Make a decision today. Whether you are in Ghana, whether you're in the United States, whether you are listening to me from Iceland, one of the first steps you can take. Let me tell you this. I want to show somebody, Michael, focus on this. You see the contribution of high salt, high sodium. The contribution of high sodium, only high sodium alone, is more than anything that is here, including even trans fat. Can you believe this? The contribution, if I start from here, that is low in fiber. You see how people chase all these things. If you combine, if you only consider food that is high in sodium, it is greater than them all. So why? Because even that is high in processed meat, if it's not processed with salt, it's a different ball game. But if it's processed with salt, that is a different situation. So I'm going to talk about two sources. Number one, the first source is outside. Food you eat outside. When you're ordering food next time, ask them, is there a low salt option or low sodium option that will help you? And what is the solution? Sometimes the solution is to prepare your own food. Okay, let me tell you how people prepare their own food. A lot of people, the food that they prepare is all the frozen things that has been stored. And those frozen things, when I ask about preparing your food, is that they combine the frozen things. All the frozen things that you are combining, you are not preparing the food. Breaking news. They are highly concentrated in salt. If you can prepare the food from fresh things that have not been processed, that will be one big step forward to be able to help you. It's very important. And that will cut away and it will substantially reduce the biggest cause of mortality in the world, not only in your community. Let's talk about the second thing. And this one is not coming from me. In developed countries, if this is not the biggest, at least I've seen in published literature, the biggest source of sodium is bread. Bread. Bread is good, but please, in moderation. Somebody asked me, how could bread be the reason? This is the reason. Especially white bread. This is the reason. For bread to be baked, you need something called what? Baking soda. You know what that baking soda is made up of? It's sodium. The reason why that bread rose up is because it has God. So, one of the things that I've seen in this country compared to, or developed countries compared to other countries, is that we eat bread all the time. People start their day with eating a little bread. Let me tell you, I watched somebody. He starts the day by eating bread with egg. That is a breakfast. Fantastical. In the afternoon, the person got a burger. You know what a burger is? Is bread with meat inside. And in the evening, the person got to a place that serves chicken, and they give you garlic bread. Ooh! What do you see? It's bread all through. And where I used to work in the hospital, sometimes people will come and give us lunch. And you know what that lunch is? I don't want to say a name. There's a restaurant chain that people love. They give you a foot length of bread. Ooh! And they call it healthy. If you eat that whole foot of bread, you know how much sodium you have consumed? Oh boy. So what I'm trying to say is this. Look, bread is good, especially bread that is good in what? In whole grains. I'm going to come and talk about other things. Oh, Michael, my screen disappeared, but you can still show it to me. Bread that is good in whole grains, but limit it. Limit it. I'm not going to be like people who sit on TV and be telling you, eat 2 eggs a day, and then you eat 2 eggs a day and your cholesterol is through. They're not going to tell you that.
At ACI, we offer expert care for veins, legs, hearts, and arteries. We treat a myriad of ailments, including leg pain, leg swelling, chest discomfort, and shortness of breath. Serving the DMV area, we accept most insurance. Visit our website for our free resources. Call or click to schedule your visit today. Advanced Cardiovascular Institute. Expert care for hearts and legs.
But I can tell you, whatever bread that you are consuming, especially white bread, these are the basis. Limit it. Keep it to a reasonable. I don't know where the concept of 3 square meals come from. I've never seen even a square bowl. Most of them, they are round, but we talk about 3 square meals. But if you're eating bread all the time, try to reduce the bread. And I believe that is why unleavened bread may be healthier than the leavened one. I don't have data to support that though. But food, that the 2 things that I want to talk about, I think I need to talk about them today, is that if you are going to adopt whole grain into your diet, because diet that is low, a diet that is low in whole grains is the second cause of cardiovascular, is a second cause of diet that leads to problems. Actually, it causes more cardiovascular problems than high salt. Very interesting data. So, what do we mean by whole grains? Most of the grains we do, they are processed. But try to eat the grains in their original form. I know people are talking about grain-free food. Okay, there's a whole theory about it, but I've not seen something that is convincing. If you show me the data, I'll go with that. But the reason why diabetes and all these things abound in so many places all over the world, and that's why you see diabetes here, right there. In this place, you see diabetes. You don't see diabetes in the salt. And that shows you that this data is powerful and strong. Diet that is low in grains, you see diabetes popping up. But I would have thought that it was only that, but it's cardiovascular. So if you are eating rye, not rice, if you are eating the rice, whole grain. If you are eating the bread, whole grain. Whole grains. It's very, very good. I've not been good at it, okay? I love it. Okay, the croissant is good. I just got some vegan croissant because all my life I've not been able to enjoy croissant because I was worried about lactose. Then I came across vegan croissant. All of a sudden I was like, I had to pray and fast to help myself about how much I was going to consume. Okay, so we all fall prey to this, right? And I came across vegan scones. You know, I've not had the opportunity to enjoy all these things in life. And I had to catch myself. Because why? Most of these things are made with processed grains. The flour has been processed. So if you can always have whole grain option, the whole grain option is going to help you. So today we want to hit the first two. Call your friend, tell your family members. People have led their lives without medicine. We were not made to be taking medicines throughout our lives, but medicines are indispensable. Somebody came to me and he's on 3 blood pressure medicines. It's 2 blood pressure medicines. And I asked the person, what is the average blood pressure medicines that the patient that I referred to me have? The person looked at me. He said maybe 1 or 2. I said the average is 3. And for very difficult to control blood pressure, we give the patients 5 blood pressure medicines to be able to control. There is nobody that has come to me that will have not been able to control their blood pressure. I can tell you clearly. And we'll be doing a series on blood pressure. And if you have a problem with your blood pressure, you can come to Advanced Cardiovascular Institute. And if you are going to work with us, we can guarantee through God's grace that your blood pressure is going to be controlled. But part of getting you controlled will be making changes in this area. How much salt you are consuming through your processed food and the bread that you are having. And then to reduce your cardiovascular health, how much you are incorporating whole grains into your diet. At least when I came to this country, whole grain bread, it was a science project to eat it. I can tell you we've come very far. And now they taste pretty good. It's not only bread, but it's everything that you can get. Any form of grain. A lot of the argument that people are using so that you do grain-free and they're selling all the grain-free, I don't have a problem with that. But I can tell you there is no doubt the whole grains as part of your life is life-giving. And let's do things so that you and me may be able to cross the 100-year-old barrier, like the man that I was named after, who lived a life without medicine and never even saw a doctor. God bless you.